We are getting screwed and it's dealerships' fault. And truthfully, we should all be pissed. Back in 2022, the CARS rule was introduced, otherwise known as the Combating Auto Retail Scams Rule. This was a rule introduced by the FTC, or the Federal Trade Commission, and it would have required a slew of different rules and regulations being put in place that dealerships would have to follow that were ultimately designed to protect the buyer, aka you and I. This rule would ban things like bait-and-switch sales strategies, would require explicit consent to be given by the buyer of a car, ensuring that they understand what they're obligating themselves financially to. It would also require dealerships to be transparent and forthcoming about pricing and add-ons. In fact, you can see here the official graphic of the CARS rule, and it was designed to protect consumers and benefit honest dealers by A, prohibiting misrepresentation about material information, B, requires dealers to clearly disclose the offering price, the actual price anyone would pay to get the car, excluding only required government fees. So instead of presenting dealership add-ons, accessories, warranties as an addition of the monthly rate, which is something all of us have most likely heard of, oh, you can add this warranty, it's only an extra $4 per month. Instead of presenting it that way, which is a much easier sale, dealerships would be required to tell you what the final price of the car is. And thus buyers would be able to get insight into how these add-ons are affecting the total purchase price of the car. Additionally, it would make it illegal for dealerships to charge consumers for add-ons that don't provide a benefit, things like nitrogen tires. And it would also require dealers to get consumers express informed consent before charging anything. Now, call me biased, but I just think that these sets of rules feel very obvious and a bit of a no-brainer thing to implement. And it feels like a clear win for not only consumers, but also for dealerships that are doing things honestly and with integrity. Truthfully, it feels like a non-starter. And if, like me, you also have this exact same feeling, well, it looks as though we're both wrong, at least in the eyes of the courts. Now, when the CARS rule was announced, dealerships pushed back. Of course they did. I'm a big believer that a large part of dealerships' model is preying upon those people that don't know any better whenever it comes to buying a car. Every single time I talk about the CARS rule, I get flashbacks to about a year and a half ago whenever I helped my aunt buy a RAV4. My aunt knows nothing about finance and buying cars, and she's also someone I would consider relatively naive in this space. She also isn't someone who makes a ton of money, so whenever it came down to buying her a car, we really had to be careful that she didn't overspend and get taken advantage of. Well, at the time, I didn't even know my aunt was going through the process of buying a car until one random day she gave me a call. She said she was looking to purchase a vehicle and she asked me to review the deal. And upon further investigation, I found out that this deal was just completely, utterly horrible. My aunt went in to buy a used RAV4, something reasonably priced for an older woman. But somehow the salesman ended up convincing her that she needed a new Toyota Highlander with a bunch of add-ons that was far over budget. And it really pissed me off, and I still think about it often today. And whenever I think about the CARS rule, I can't help but think about all of the different people that would be helped and how it would prevent so many people from getting screwed on bad car deals, just like my aunt would have if I didn't step in. But I digress. Back to the CARS rule, it is extremely frustrating to report that as of Monday this week, it looks as though the CARS rule is officially dead in the water. And according to CNBC, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, in a 2-1 decision in response to legal challenges by the National Automobile Dealer Association and a Texas dealer group, said the Federal Trade Commission had violated procedural rules and writing the regulation without giving advance notice of the planned regulation. This article goes on to state, the FTC has said that the new rule would bar junk fees like service contracts for an oil change for an electric vehicle or a duplicate warranty, and estimated that this would save consumers more than $3.4 billion and an estimated 72 million hours annually shopping for vehicles. While NADA, the National Automobile Dealer Association, has said basically the complete opposite, which is that this would needlessly lengthen the car sales process by forcing new layers of disclosures and complexities into the transaction. Now, Judge Stephen Higginson, the one judge that actually ruled in favor of the CARS rule, he had this to say. Congress authorized the FTC to regulate unfair and deceptive motor vehicle dealer practices, which inflict immense proven harm on U.S. consumers. He noted that the rule came after decades of roundtables, comments, and over 100,000 consumer complaints, many leading to federal and state law enforcement actions against unfair and deceptive motor vehicle dealer practices. This is extremely frustrating, not only from the perspective of someone who has been following the CARS rule extremely closely and who has been eager to see the outcome of an implementation implementation of such rule, but also, as I mentioned earlier in this video, as someone who feels strongly that dealerships simply take advantage of the average consumer. And I know that many of you feel the same way because every single time I make a video like this on my channel, my comment section gets flooded with people who are leaving remarks and comments about different experiences that themselves, their friends, or loved ones have had at dealerships. Stories of people getting taken advantage of, poor sales experience, and ultimately why many of us have a real disdain for dealers. I mean, let's just look at a handful of statistics. I pulled up a study from a 2024 KBB survey taken from people who had recently either looked or purchased a car. And according to the study, 76% of consumers don't trust dealers to be honest about pricing, while 30% of consumers found hidden fees in their contract after a price was already officially agreed upon. 28% of consumers felt the salesman was trying to trick them, and of those, 29% of buyers left the dealer and bought from another dealer because of it. And while according to JD Power, customer satisfaction with dealerships has technically increased in recent years, the fact remains that dealerships absolutely have an image issue, and many people just don't trust them, nor do they want to do business with them, and rightfully so. And this is where real frustration sets in, not only for the dealerships that lobbied against this rule, but for the government agencies that have really failed consumers. Most consumers are in favor of the CARS rule. This is not only based off of the videos that I've made and the people that I've spoken to, but also by these surveys and the open comment periods provided by the FTC for consumers to give their feedback. But because of a technicality with the procedures used to bring the CARS rule to life, the entire rule just simply gets thrown out. It is extremely frustrating. And as far as the CARS rule moving forward and whether or not this is something that could happen in the future, well, unfortunately, I don't know. This was a Biden-era policy, and I can't imagine under the new administration that this will be addressed. Though I absolutely could be wrong. But my gut is telling me that at least for now, consumer protections when it comes to dealerships, that's being put on the back burner. And I'd be willing to guess that it will be for quite a while. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.